Where can people find you, Nick?
They can find me on my YouTube channel. It's just youtube.com/Rekieta Law. If you Google like Maddox and lawsuit, you'll probably find it. Lately, I've been covering a bunch of comic book stuff because I'm a free speech proponent, and that's like a weird war on speech going on there.
Yeah, I gotta get more into that because that's I don't really read comics regularly anymore. I used to, but then before even the whole social justice thing, they were just getting weird.
Yeah, I stopped like 20 years ago.
Like I like 2006 to like 2008, DC Comics was on a roll, and then they just started rebooting every couple of years, and it's like, why am I going to read a book? You're going to erase it in a couple of years. But yeah, it's weird what's going on because I didn't mind like black characters or gay characters, but now it's just kind of like mandatory and forced into everything.
Yeah, and I think
a little weird.
I think people don't mind black or LGBT characters. I think they mind that they're doing it to major properties. Yeah. Like Tony Stark's been replaced by like a 13-year-old black lesbian girl, I guess. This is what I've been told.
Yeah.
Is she something? But she's like smarter than Tony Stark. And so that's weird. Yeah. And they made Captain America a Nazi, and that really bothered people.
I mean, that's something that wasn't going to last long either. That doesn't really bother me when they do shit like that.
And the Hulk's Asian now.
Yeah, but other people have been the Hulk. I don't know. I don't know that character too well.
Yeah, and I don't know any of this stuff, but it's like I think what I hear from most of these guys is if you create these characters and stop trying to put them in the existing popular properties, but you just made new stories that were good, they wouldn't care.
Yeah.
And maybe they're lying, but that seems to be the mantra. And I don't know, for what it's worth, I tend to believe them.
I mean, there's times where like, changing race of a character was fine. Like Mr. Terrific is a good example. No one gives a fuck about the original Mr. Terrific. No one even knows that that's a character, but like the black cool Mr. Terrific, everyone knows. He's the one that's in TV shows and stuff. And I think the black Spider-Man, Miles Morales, is actually okay.
Sure.
I've only seen him in a cartoon. He was fine, but like Spider-Man has like a huge like black fan base. So that made sense in that decision. But then they like went haywire. They're like, yeah, you know what people want? They want a Thor girl. Even though there's already a character called Thor girl, we're gonna make another Thor girl.
Right, and we're gonna replace Thor with her.
Yeah,
and then but like Green Lantern, they've had several different Green Lanterns, and those kind of make sense because there's different rings, and so you can be a different Green Lantern.
Well, not even that. There's so many aliens that are green. There's a living planet that's a Green Lantern. There's cat people. Like anyone could be a Green Lantern. That's why I don't think people care when it happened to the Green Lantern.
Right.
So I don't know. I'll have to return with ComicsGate stuff. I really need to get into it and read comics again.
It's been really interesting to kind of be thrust into it, but I've just been watching the legal stuff mostly, and it's wild. As far as I can tell, these comic pros who still work at Marvel and DC are so sure that what they're doing is virtuous that they think it justifies potential illegal actions. And that's what's fascinating to me is we seem to be there as a society.
I mean, does any of this like help their sales at all?
No, their sales keep going down
because I watch like the DC shows on CW. I know that sounds really lame, but I like these characters and I can't read comics anymore, so it's the only way I can enjoy them.
No, it's fine.
But like CW, that's part of like their like business model. Like they fill their shows full of a diverse cast. And that like diverse cast, like LGBT, different races, that's a way to like, hit every demographic really.
Yep.
And it works out for them. But I for some reason it doesn't seem like it's getting the same result in comics. And I don't understand why they're so dead set on continuing that path.
I've heard conflicting numbers, but I basically heard comics are down 6 to 10% year over year for the past couple of years in overall sales. And they're kind of hard to track because one of the allegations is that they've been over shipping books, Marvel in particular. Yeah. So they did a limited Iceman run, which I think got canceled. I'm not sure, but Iceman is now gay.
Yeah, I came from nowhere.
Yeah, it's a little weird because Iceman has had love interests in the past and stuff, and so it's like All right. And there are a bunch of comic shops that, you know, they ordered like 5 copies of Iceman #1. They got shipped 10 to 15 copies of Iceman #1 by Marvel. And they don't have to pay for these, but they have to put them on their shelf and stuff like that. But then, you know, they were kind of showing pictures of the same rack, and they weren't selling these books. And so the question is, Marvel, when they report their sales, they report it as books shipped. Mm-hmm. And so books shipped is not books sold to a customer.
No, not at all.
And so if you're over shipping a certain book run by triple, the numbers on the shipping are going to look good. The revenue numbers are going to look really bad. Yeah. So it's a weird situation. And I've learned that like Diamond is a distributor for comic books, and they're the only one basically. So there's like a distribution monopoly, and like a local comic shop can't turn down. So when you overship something in every other industry, that's a breach of contract, and it makes the contract, you could exit the contract.
Yeah.
So like if this is the lumber industry and they ship you too much lumber, well, then you got to store it and do something with it. It could rot or, you know, decay. So you can actually breach your contract if they're over a certain amount. Mm-hmm. In comics, if you break your contract, you lose Diamond, which means you don't get Marvel and DC. So if you're a comic shop and you can't get Marvel and DC comics or Image or anyone else, then you're done. You're out of business.
Oh, that sucks.
Yes, they have this like weird monopoly. It's weird. Why am I ranting about comics?
I was about to say, I'm going to do another ending. I might make this thing its own video.